Life is overwhelming, heavy is the head that wears the crown. I'd love to be the one to disappoint you when I don't fall down.
Hi guys, day 14. It's been 8 days now without any citalopram at all. I'll start by saying today has been quite good, generally. I'm physically in quite a lot of pain from work. Still went for a run today, which was hard to finish, but I did it. And I was trying to work out how much of a mental or physical challenge that was. But anyway, yeah, got there and back. I'm not going to go for a run tomorrow, I think, give myself a day off. And I will tell you now, I am utterly exhausted, but that is entirely because I've been staying up making these videos every day rather than going to bed on time. I've been sleeping for 6 or less hours for the last week at least, and it is taking its toll now. I'm utterly knackered, and that has led to a bit of a blip this evening. Like, my last 2 days have been extremely positive, and then just driving home, and today I sort of had just a really sharp negative spiral, like it was almost just a drop off a cliff rather than anything else. It didn't jump from point to point, it was just like, this is a thing now, bang. And that was disturbing. And this evening I've sat down for dinner with my family, and afterwards, like, my mum can basically tell when I'm quite wound up or need to discuss something. And yeah, she asked me a question, and it ended up in me basically losing any sense of rationality for quite a few minutes, and we had a heated discussion, we'll call it, about things like mindfulness. Actually, I don't want to give you any negative fuel at all. Anyone who's watching this who isn't completely happy, I don't want to give any sort of negative ideas, because I know for a fact, like, if someone floats a negative idea to me when I'm in a bad mood, you can just absorb it and take it on board, and yeah. So I'm not going to do that, but basically lost my sense of rationality for a bit, had a back and forth. Basically I just tired myself out with arguing and like confusing myself and not being able to make sense of what I was trying to argue for or against or find reason in. So my parents very kindly sat there and let me burn myself out before I had a bit of a lie down on the sofa, and did some breathing. Although coincidentally I was drinking quite a big glass of Baileys throughout the process, so maybe I was just self-medicating subconsciously. No, it wasn't, hopefully. But I know for a fact that I cannot deal with tiredness properly in terms of being able to keep my head in a good place. So yeah, I know for like, I've set myself up for a moment like this by not sleeping enough. That is basically it. Same with not eating enough food and having low energy, not having enough sleep, and yeah, not resting my mind and my body enough. I'm just tired, and I had a blip, which was in a safe environment, and like the drive home wasn't too bad, but I kind of just popped the bubble at home and dealt with it. I also discussed sort of how I feel about being off the tablets now, and whether or not I'm missing any of the positives of being on the tablets, or yeah, whether there's any massive negatives of being off them. My argument is that tablets primarily deal with physical symptoms of depression and anxiety, so yeah, basically like allowing more serotonin to remain in your brain, it stops it being reuptaken, I suppose, and that counteracts the overproduction and incorrect production of adrenaline, or release of adrenaline in your body, which is basically what the physical symptoms were for me, just being tense and anxious about stuff that were just not things that should happen for, which in turn allows you to relax, and which in turn gives you more energy, which in turn allows you to think rationally and counteract irrational thought spikes. So it isn't entirely physical. It does have a knock-on effect onto your sort of mental stamina and mental resilience. But now I can say I'm 90% certain that the physical problems that I was suffering with during my worst phases of depression, so a really tight chest with anxiety and worrying about things that, like I've said before, worrying about things that I shouldn't have to worry about, it's gone. Like, I can go to work now not worrying. Like every day at work I would worry about going to work, and sorry, there's just a massive spider on the wall. So going out of the house to do stuff on social occasions, etc. I've talked about this stuff before, like, but that is not with me now. Like, I can deal with working, I want to go out and socialise, and in terms of thoughts, I'm putting things in place now, and I'm working hard, and it is tiring, but it is fruitful, like I'm getting somewhere with it all. So my energy with my food, I need to sleep more, like that's another reason why I'm stopping these videos, because I'm staying up to make them basically, which is totally counterproductive for me. And yeah, working with mindfulness, which is helping. It's kind of just, even with like when I'm digging all day today, like just sort of trying to focus on something else and not the agony in my back. So it kind of worked out okay. And I know it's going to work in the long run for things that are more important to me. But yeah, I've got a really good checklist now, which I just need to make sure I refer to, so I can make sense of why sometimes I'm hitting negative thought cycles, etc. So yeah, if I'm hungry, if I'm tired, basically just looking after myself generally, but making sure I do it well and consistently, because I feel I can quite quickly relapse. And though, like, I'd like to believe that I can deal with it regardless of my circumstances, the reality is the better condition I am in terms of energy, the better chance I have. Well, I know if I have energy, I know if I'm in a good place, I can fight off negativity, I can rationalise it, and I can make sense of the world and my thoughts. Like, they make sense when I'm energised, but when I'm flagging for any of the reasons I mentioned, then like that fight to find like positivity in things is so much harder. Like you're not on an even pegging. So that's going to be a big thing, just trying to focus on looking after myself, and I hope that'll bring rewards. I'd like to say I think the process has gone a lot better than I thought. Certainly talk to your doctor, because I'm pretty sure mine got it wrong, telling me to come off over a week. I feel I've got away with it rather than it'd be a really good idea that I'd encourage other people to do. But that said, I don't have any massively negative feedback on the process. Anyone who's watched a few of the videos will probably have seen a bad day, like this evening for example, has been quite negative. Or no, it's not that, it's had a negative moment to it, I think is the best way to put it. Like my dad asked me today, did I think these thoughts while I was on the tablets, and yes, absolutely I did. And like I say, that's not really what the tablets do. The tablets sort of give you a chance to give you some energy to counteract the thought cycle, I suppose. So they don't stop them happening, but they give you a better chance of dealing with them, and that's what I'm doing now. That's basically what I'm seeking to do now. Give myself some tools to deal with that issue. Like, essentially, I am quite cynical, and I am just trying to kill the cynic in me, basically. It's not serving me well. It doesn't help anyone else. No one wants to be around a negative person. So basically trying to make myself more palatable to myself and other people. And I think it's going well. Like I am still positive. I'm not considering going back on the tablets at the moment. If something big happens in my life and I feel my body has taken a hit, I don't have the energy to rationalise or the means to rationalise, then I'll certainly go back on them. Like, I'm not apprehensive about them at all. But definitely, I know I've said it before, but I need to take my own advice, like communicate with people, definitely talk to people. Like, it is hard, you don't want to offload what is essentially just a massive ball of negativity on someone, especially someone you love and care about. So it's good to have a discussion probably while you're in a better place, just like, realistically, I'm going to have bad points, and I'm going to basically not make any sense, in the sense that I'm going to be really negative about something that doesn't warrant it. And are you able to sort of listen to me while I burn myself out? Which is basically what happened this evening. Like, ideally, I'll get away from that completely, but everyone gets in a bad mood and angry and upset about stuff. But hopefully, most people do that about things that are relatively rational. And I'm just going to practice and work at it, and eventually I'll be able to look at the mirror and be like, you know what? You're alright. So basically, going to learn how to make myself someone that I don't loathe, I think. just as some final closing thoughts, think about your diet, definitely. Complex carbohydrates and keeping your energy up, etc. have really worked for me the last few days, so I'd recommend them. Think about exercise. I know it's sort of talked about a lot by your doctor, like they'll often ask you if you're jogging, if you're coming in with depressive symptoms and stuff. And going for a jog is not going to stop you being depressed, but going jogging can add another level or have another impact against depression, I think. And it's hard, especially if you start off unfit, because it's really demoralising, like being awful at something when you're trying to do something positive for yourself. But stick at it, you'll surprise yourself. Don't beat yourself up if you are bad about it. That's the main thing. Like, it's just a jog. Rationalise it. Bang. Think about what you're exposing yourself to as well. Like, I know watching the news, for example, does my head in. So if you know things wind you up or are going to make you upset or angry, just don't be near them. And the flip side of that is expose yourself to things you love and really enjoy. So I've been trying to just surround myself with comedy, basically, and people's company who I appreciate. And it's really working. Like, in those moments where you're enjoying yourself, like, there isn't any time to be negative, really. And that has been one of the biggest pluses of coming off the tablets. Like, the things I'm enjoying a lot more. And it's also encouraging, like, being off them now and being able to say, yeah, I mean, I'm struggling with things still, but I'm taking steps towards dealing with it and having very obvious successful impact against it. So yeah, I'd like to just say a final thank you to all the friends and family who've posted and given feedback and just watching the videos. I appreciate 14 different videos of me talking at our camera about a lot of similar things, and basically just listing off what happened in my day isn't the greatest thing. But the aim was just to document how I dealt with coming off the tablets over quite a short period of time. So yeah, if it's been useful to anyone, then I've done my job, basically. I found actually doing the video diary itself quite useful because it's been quite time intensive and given me something to really focus on, and I've enjoyed it. Like, most of the time, like, video editing has been something fun to learn. Obviously, I've got a long way to go in terms of perfecting it, so it's a new hobby maybe for the future. But also, coming off tablets, definitely give yourself plenty of sleep. Like, that's the one thing I've massively neglected to do, and it's caught up with me today. So I hope it's been useful to someone out there, and I'd love to hear from you. And as always, I'm very willing to answer questions and give feedback, and give advice from my own personal experience. Like, I'm never going to say, believe me, like, I know what's best because I've been through it, because everyone reacts differently, everyone's depression is different, everyone's reaction to drugs is different, and everyone needs different amounts of time, etc. So I can give my opinion if you ask for it, and I'm very, very happy to do that. The whole idea of this is to be open about the process. So thank you very much for everyone who's watched, and yeah, all the best to anyone who's going through depression at the moment, just starting the tablets, been on them for a while or whatever, or if you're planning to come off them, I wish you the best of luck. So take care, and good night.